Hi, Capricorn. I am shuffling already because you guys don't need talk. You need action. You need to get things done, and you're being very particular about how things are going to be done in October. And like, I literally started this video 5 different times because things were not right. I mean, it's such a Virgo-esque type energy, but I mean, the earth signs in general are perfectionists. We're very hard workers. Not saying that all the other signs aren't hard workers. Don't get me wrong. We just have a very particular way of doing things. And right now, it's kind of like no BS. Like, we're not going to bullshit with anyone. We are on a course of action. And everything has to have its place, right? The Emperor. So you could be dealing with an Aries, but I feel like this is your energy. 7 of Wands, of like fighting for the cause, of getting things done, of making sure that everything has its place, standing up for yourself. And 4 of Cups, not letting your emotions get involved. This is like, I almost feel like the strategy, and I don't want to call it war, but you're definitely in a planning phase. You're definitely strategizing your next move. I'm almost thinking like Battleship. Remember Battleship? Like, and I know that they still have it, but you know, for those of us who grew up in the 80s, who were 70s and 80s kids, who did nothing but play video games because Atari, let's be real, Atari was extremely expensive back then. The strategy behind it, you know, like, you had to make sure that your boats were positioned just right and that you were hitting your target just right. And I feel like that's where you guys are. You felt so restricted for so long. And now Mars is moving into Aquarius and Saturn is direct again. Remember in October that Venus will be in Scorpio in retrograde until the beginning of November. So this emotionless, like, and I don't even really want to call it emotionless time, but you guys are taking it very, very seriously. Yes, you do have emotions, but there's some things that you know have to end because they're just not benefiting you. The 10 of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles, and you want to make space for the universe to work, and you're prepared for it, and this is what you are strategizing. You're like, I want this Ace of Wands. I can see it. I can feel it happening. But you know that some things really have to fall away, and I know in November, oh my gosh, I know in September, things felt very restricted. You didn't feel like you were able to push forward and move forward. And now you're feeling like you're a little bit more in charge of things. So during this time, and really anchor off of the energy that, like, Lilith is not in your sign anymore. So you don't have to worry about, you know, like we talked about Lilith, how she can like just mess things up, right? She is in your 2nd house. So really watch your spending habits. Really watch your spending habits during the transit of Aquarius with Lilith. So, especially if you're a Capricorn rising. But I do feel like you guys are kind of on guard. Ready for action, but super on guard, you know? The Emperor. It's the only major arcana that's come out. So, yes, you could be dealing with an Aries, but more than anything, I feel like you guys are in charge. And it's almost like you know, see, and this is one of the things that was driving me crazy. I broke a nail, and, I mean, like, these are my real nails. I don't, you know, so it was really kind of disconcerting for me that I did, and I was like, now I have to do the Capricorn video, and they're being so particular and strategic about things, and I have a broken nail. Like, that was It was I almost didn't do your video because of it. I'm doing it though, but I almost didn't. Because I know that you guys are very particular right now, and I know you don't really care whether I broke a nail or not. Like, that's very inconsequential to anything that's going on in your life, right? But the feeling I was picking up on your energy so much that I was like, oh, really? Like that too? Like that has to happen right now? Like I don't have time for this. That was what I was getting. I don't have time for this. All right. So the High Priestess on the Emperor, intuitively you know that you need to kind of pull back from everybody else. That this is a time for you to kind of reassess things and be very strategic and really move forward with everything that, it's almost like you're starting a whole brand new path in your life. And it's a big transition. It's a, and maybe not all of you are transitioning really big, but it still feels that way. It's like moving from one state to another. It's like getting married. It's like, whatever you're planning on doing, whatever strategy, and even if it's like just a job change, changing jobs or, just moving houses that just like across town or something like that. It's very significant for you in your life right now. Almost to the point to where, the smallest details have to be recognized. That's where I'm going, right? And yes, it's a really big burden for you. There's that fire sign again, if that is a fire sign. But again, I'm really feeling the fire in you. I'm feeling this fire in you. The King of Wands with the 10 of Wands on the 7 of Wands. This is why you're having to be so strategic, because the burden is so heavy right now that you have to be confident and you have to be strategic. And so whatever it is that's going on in your life, that may, it may not be a huge, gigantic transition. It may be a huge, gigantic transition. But whatever that's going on in your life, you're really protecting yourself in a way that you're only, it's like, and you're protecting others. It's almost like you're protecting others from you. You're so overburdened that you don't want to put these burdens onto other people. And we've talked about this before, how you guys like just do and do and do for everyone all the time. This particular situation, I feel like, is doing for you. Like, it's a big transition for your life, not somebody, and it could affect other people in your life. But you're almost protecting other people from you because you know that you're going to be very, like, laser focused. And might not be the most fun person in October. You just might, let's be real. You might not be the most fun person in October. 4 of Cups. This is kind of pulling back, being apathetic, not letting your emotions get involved. And Justice and the 3 of Swords. And it could be because of some disappointments that you've had. There could be some, balance that needs to be restored in your life in some way. You could have some legal things going on. But, if you've had some kind of disappointment coming to you and this has been a really big burden, or you've had a disappointment happen to you and it's been a really big burden, I feel like you guys are pulling back. And it's almost like you don't want other people to be affected by either how emotional you could get if you let the floodgates open. Because a lot of times, like, earth signs, we'll keep our emotions in until we can't keep them anymore, and then it's like this huge flood. It's like the dam, the dam has opened. Water everywhere. That's what it is. It's like canned open worms. That's the feeling that I'm getting. And I'm not laughing at how tough this is for you, because it feels like a very, very, not even painful, just burdensome. Like, this is something that's really weighing heavy on you. and you're not really wanting to get other people involved in the situation, or how you're feeling with things. Ten of Swords. All right, Capricorn, the Ten of Swords. Let's get into that. Because to me, this is a fear. This is, and I think that we talked about this in September. I keep wanting to say November. So if like this kind of energy is pushing into November, or it's something that happened last November that's kind of like a full circle that's happening, that's really coming up very clear. I keep wanting to say November. I don't know. It's so weird. But the Ten of Swords is a fear. And the fear of it being the worst possible scenario. This is like when somebody says they're going to text you and they don't text you. And they like, I'll text you when I get there to let you know I'm safe, and they don't text you, and then you think they're dead in a ditch somewhere. Like going to the worst possible scenario. That's the Ten of Swords. So it could, I mean, yes, this could be a devastating situation that you're in. It looks like it's pretty heartbreaking. It looks like it's really burdensome, but you're also coming to the end of it. It's like a cycle that you're completing. And even if it was something, yeah, you can, and that's what I feel like. I feel like this was a journey that you had to go on to really get to know yourself, or to really like understand the position that you were in with the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is that journey of self-discovery. And it's really something that had to happen. And I want you to kind of honor yourself in it. Because even if it doesn't turn out the way that you want to, even if it's really, really hard to get through, even if it's something that has been hard, and now you're like at the end of the cycle, it has been heartbreaking, it has been burdensome, you're actually in much more control than you think. Because the lack mentality, that's what goes away when you do this journey, right? You start to recognize, I am stronger than I thought I was. This, whatever this thing is that I thought was going to be much worse than it actually turned out to be, or it did turn out to be pretty bad. However, whatever way it works out for you in October, when you go on this journey, when you're in that Eight of Cups mode and you're leaving all of that emotional bullshit behind that you don't need to resonate with anymore, that lack mentality, the Five of Pentacles, like I'm lacking in every way. I'm sorry. I'm like really fidgeting with my hair and stuff. It's so real how very picky you guys are. And I feel like you're also really picky about who you want to be around you, because there's not a lot of people here. We have Pisces, we have Aries, we have Libra. But there's not a lot of people around, because I feel like these are more energies than anything. I feel like your intuition is very heightened right now. I feel like you're kind of staying quiet. You're keeping to yourself, not really opening yourself up, because you need to stay in charge. You need to stay in control of yourself and your emotions. And when other people get involved, things could go haywire. And again, that dam could open. That dam. Flood of emotions everywhere. So what is the lack mentality? What is the Five of Pentacles? You could be having money problems, but you know, I've always said with earth signs, even emotions or family, you know, we look at things as pentacles. Things are very real to us. We can touch it, if we can see it, if we can feel, you know, taste it, it's real. And if we can even feel it on the inside, it's real for us. It's considered a pentacle. So I do feel, and this is kind of what I was saying with the Eight of Cups, this journey that you've been on to kind of discover yourself and everything else around you, it's pulling you out of a lack mentality. Because you're recognizing that you had to go through this in order to grow. And yeah, that really sucks. Like, it sucks to have to go through terrible things to grow. It just does. And there's no way around it. You know what I mean? It's like, and you can call it karma if you want to, or you can just call it like, you know, I made a poor decision, I made a bad decision, you know, somebody else might have screwed you over, you know, whatever that was. I'm always a very firm believer, and even if somebody else screwed me over, I had a part in it somehow. because I was still in the situation. I was still, you know what I mean? Like if I was in a relationship that went south, that person may have been a terrible person, but I was in it. I was still a party to it. I was still, you know, I still allowed myself to be treated in such a way. The whole thing is what do you do to allow yourself to get out of it? And the Six of Swords is saying that mental balance and clarity is very needed and very real. And why? Because you need to make space for the opportunities that the universe has for you. Even if it comes in a really craptastic way. I mean, like, that's really the only way I want to say it. If it comes, and I'm not saying that October is going to be bad for all Capricorns. I feel like some of this is past energy that might be seeping into October. I feel like a lot of this you guys might have already been through. All of the burdens, all of the working really hard all the time for everybody else, or even just working really hard, period, and not being able to like pull yourself out of this funk that's been going on, that restriction that you were feeling. To me, that restriction is lightening up in October. But the thing is it's what you do with the heavy weight that you're leaving behind. Do you hang on to that restriction? Do you hang on to that heavy weight? Or do you allow yourself and allow the universe to bring in the Four of Wands? Capricorn, see, this is what I was saying. There is celebration to be had. There is happiness to be had. There are big opportunities on the horizon. And once you move past the disappointment and the feeling restricted and not being able to move and the sadness and needing to balance out, and, you know, that's when the stability comes in. That's when the opportunity of happiness comes in. And again, yeah, it kind of sucks to have to go through something like that. It sucks to have to go through negative things in our life to recognize all the happy stuff. But you guys are also really, really hard on yourselves. And how do I know that? Because I'm a Virgo and I'm hard on myself. Capricorn and Virgos are so hard on themselves. Taurus is so hard on themselves. Earth signs are just, and it's because we're the solid ones of the zodiac. We're the earthbound creatures of the zodiac. We make things happen in real life. And when it doesn't happen in real life, when it doesn't come into fruition, it is kind of devastating. We beat ourselves up for it because it didn't happen the way we wanted it to. Now, here's the lesson in that. Not everything is going to happen the way we want to. That's what divine timing is. And a lot of people, and I've even heard earth signs say, divine timing means that it's never going to happen. Well, the only reason why we have that kind of mindset is because divine timing doesn't happen when we want it to. That's why we feel like it never happens. Because it doesn't happen the way we want it to happen, right? So, bottom of the deck, towards the end, towards going like into the middle of October, toward the end of October, we have the Seven of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Devil. There's that fire sign again. Queen of Wands, or another fire sign. I feel like you guys are actually taking on the King of Wands energy, but there's a lot of fire going on here. Fire and thoughts. Lots of fire and a lot of thinking. And then we have the Magician, so this could be a Sagittarius, and we have the Five of Wands, and the Knight of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles with, oh my gosh, you guys, see, and this is what I'm saying. All right, I see I wasn't going to go any further than this, but I have to now, and I'll show you these 4 cards when we get there, because this is going into the end of October, right? Things can still be a little bit confusing. This is the opportunity that you're looking for to come in. The universe really wants to give you something bright, passionate, stable, something that's going to honor your fiery nature that you're taking on, right? And we have the Seven of Cups with the Nine of Wands. I don't want you to brace yourself just because you don't know what's coming. And the reason why I feel like you're going to brace yourself is because of all the crap that you've already been through. It's like all of this unnecessary, and probably necessary, but let's say unnecessary for the sake of argument, right? All of this unnecessary hurt, pain, and unfulfilling emotions. All of that happening, You know, you could have a tendency to guard yourself or I feel like you're still fighting for a cause or fighting for yourself or fighting for something. But just because you don't know what's going to happen, because the Seven of Cups is an illusion. It's the unknown. It's a very fuzzy future, right? I feel like there are people that are fighting for you or fighting with you, not at you. I feel like you have confidence. But the thing is if you're pulling yourself back and you're keeping yourself really guarded and you have that wall up, you're not going to be able to see. And this is what I feel like this stability might be, are friends and people that just want to be around you and want to help. And yes, Saturn may not be very nice to you right now, but things are manifesting in a very real way. The conflict. See, to me, the Magician these days, when it's popping up in readings, for me, this is Jupiter moving into Sagittarius in November. This is like that inner conflict of knowing that Jupiter is coming into your 12th house and there's going to be that glow up that's going to happen with Sagittarius. And it's almost like when Saturn was in Sagittarius for you guys, where you were just waiting and waiting and waiting for the rewards, you know, to reap all of these rewards. And now Saturn's either really teaching you harsh lessons or showing you the light. And to me, I feel like this inner conflict right here is you feeling that nudge of knowing that things are manifesting, but you're not quite sure how they're manifesting, and you don't want to have to go through the same karmic cycle again. The thing is you can break that. That karmic cycle is totally something you can break. The Five of Wands, yes, it can be external conflict. I also feel like this situation that you went through, when people start to see you pulling yourself out of it and making very real strides and steps forward into much brighter days, much better days, they may have a tendency to start showing up in your life and creating conflict for you. So that could be a reason why you're staying really, really guarded. So as we move into, I want to show you these last 4 cards that I have here. Check the time on the clock. So we got the Knight of Cups after the Five of Wands. And this is another thing, is I feel like you guys are manifesting. This is the internal conflict. You really, really want to be able to manifest a relationship, love. And it's almost like you've been so, and it could be with a Queen of Wands, but it almost feels like you've been so distracted by the things going on in your life or your surroundings that you haven't really had the chance to pay attention to the people that you love and the things that are going on around you. You might have felt a bit diminished because of that, the Page of Pentacles. Or you may not feel like you're good enough to offer anything right now. Whatever this was that happened may have pulled you down so far and you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel yet. You're still feeling very much like a page, although you want to give something very innocent and very loving. I want to say that, so I have the Ten of Cups and the World and the Lover's card. I want to say that there's a very real opportunity for you guys in October, towards the end of October, and we're going to look into this more for the second half reading. I'm sure this energy will come out more in the second half of October. But there's going to be a very real opportunity for you guys to get stable and get happy and have a reciprocal relationship with somebody again. Like, I literally want to say again, because I don't know if that's something that you have even addressed in your life, because this BS has been going on for you know, you feel like forever. Saturn may have doled you out a really rough 2018. Ever since it moved into your sign in December. It may, you know, everybody was talking about how Saturn is home, does so good in Capricorn, it does so, but that may not have been the case for you. And I feel like a lot of you are kind of recognizing that there are cycles that really need to end. And I feel like October is going to be a good time for you guys to end those cycles. And towards the end of October, there are going to be opportunities where if you open yourself to a relationship and to love, you can end the cycle of the Ten of Swords and the 10 of Wands, if you choose the 8 of Cups, right? If you go on that journey of self-discovery, if you choose the 6 of Swords, and you choose to stay out of fighting the confusion, choosing to end that cycle can bring you into real long-term happiness. And it could be with a fire sign, it could be with a Pisces, it could be with a Libra. There's a lot of fire here, so it could be with a Gemini even, or another earth sign. We do have you guys here also, and then Gemini and Virgo, and Sagittarius with the Magician. So there are like two camps of Capricorns here that I'm reading for. One camp, and I feel like all of you are really kind of dealing with the restrictiveness that's happening. You were kind of all the disappointment that was going on with that restricted energy. And now things are starting to move forward, and they may not be manifesting in the way that you really want them to manifest. But I do want to say that even if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's there. But you have to close a chapter first. Whatever it was that was restricting you, whatever you felt held back on, you have to close a chapter first. If that means that you have to start clearing people out of your life, if you have to like move locations, whatever you personally need to do, there's a lot of give and take with this new chapter. 6 of Pentacles. There's a lot of love. Ace of Cups. There's a lot of intelligence. Queen of Swords. And there's a lot of leaving the regrets behind and rebuilding. 5 of Cups and 3 of Pentacles. I could go further and further and further and make this like a 2-hour video. For some reason, I really feel like the need to have chats with everybody in October. But I'm glad that we started with your cards first, because I know that you guys really needed to have the information come out more than anything before you saw that the energy was going to improve towards the end of October. Really make the effort for yourself, not just the relationship, the pending relationship that's on the horizon. Really make the effort for yourself to drop all the wands, drop all the swords, you know, come into this new chapter with a renewed hope, and leave the regrets behind and start rebuilding. Leave the disappointments behind and start rebuilding in a really beautiful way, because I do feel like that's going to happen. And I feel like it's going to be in a very strong, I mean, you guys are just strong anyways. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to get through this mess with your head still on straight, right? I mean, I'm really glad I'm actually done with your reading, because it was such a heavy energy before I started, just like so nitpicky, and everything had to be just so. So I really hope that all of you have gotten past this 3 of Swords, 10 of Swords, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands disaster, and are moving into this more lighter energy through October. I love you guys so much. If you want to have a personal reading with me, fearlessintuition.net. All of that information is in the description box below this video. And I do want to say thank you so much for all of the subscribers. We hit 50,000 today. And I say we because I am just one person. I couldn't have done this without you guys. So, and you're the first sign that I'm reading after hitting 50,000. So congratulations to all of us. And it's only been a year on YouTube and we hit 50,000. And so I feel really blessed. And I'm glad that I was able to share this today. And I'm really glad to see the beautiful energy coming in for you guys in October. So, yep, if you would like a personal reading, check out my website, fearlessintuition.net. Bye, guys.